Hey everyone, and welcome to a brand new deep dive. Today we're going deep, really deep, into the world of mindfulness and meditation. We're diving into this awesome lesson on meditation. You know the one I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, it's a really rich topic, and this lesson just cuts right to the chase, it focuses on how we can actually train our minds to be more focused, more clear, and maybe even a little wiser.
You know, when I first saw Samadhi in the title, I have to admit I was a little like, whoa, this is intense. But then I started reading and it just clicked. It's all about that deep, deep focus, the kind that unlocks a whole new level of understanding.
Exactly. And it's not just about zoning out. It's about creating that mental space, that quiet space where deeper understanding and insight can come through.
So not zoning out, but zoning in.
Yeah, exactly.
And that leads perfectly into those two main types of meditation the lesson dives into. Am I right?
Yeah, you got it. The source calls them concentration meditation and insight meditation, which, okay, I'll admit sounds a little jargony, but they describe them in a way that makes total sense.
I agree. Clear, relatable explanations, even if the original terms are a mouthful.
Right. Okay, so first up, concentration meditation. Think of it like this. Have you ever tried to train a puppy?
Oh, yeah.
So you know how much energy they have. They're bouncing all over the place. This type of meditation is about gently working with that energy, helping the mind settle down a little. Like the source uses the example of focusing on your breath. It's something we do all the time, right? But we don't always pay attention to it.
It's true. It's so simple, so accessible. I like that. It's not about emptying your mind completely. It's more about choosing what to focus on.
Yes, exactly. And then there's insight meditation. This one is less about calming the mind and more about really understanding how it works. Almost like you're taking apart a complex machine to see how all the gears and springs fit together.
Wow, that's a really cool way to put it.
Yeah.
So it's about understanding ourselves better, kind of uncovering those inner workings.
Yeah.
But there's another piece of the puzzle here, right? The lesson mentions mindfulness, which honestly seems to be everywhere these days.
It really is, and for good reason. Mindfulness is key, especially when we're talking about meditation. Think of it like the base of a building, the foundation.
Okay, I'm listening. How does mindfulness fit into all of this? Is it just something we see on those meditation apps, or is there more to it?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? And this lesson actually does a nice job of, addressing that. So yes, those mindfulness apps are everywhere, but mindfulness itself is so much bigger than an app, right? In fact, the source uses this phrase, and I love this. They say, mindfulness is not just for the meditation cushion. It is a way of life.
Ooh, I like that. A way of life. I dig it.
Yeah.
So it's about bringing that same presence, that awareness to, everything. It's like my morning coffee shouldn't just be fuel. It should be an experience.
Yes, exactly. And that's where the magic happens. It's not about escaping from reality. It's about showing up for it, fully in every single moment.
Okay, I'm into it. But, be honest. Does mindfulness really live up to all the hype? Does it actually help with things like stress, or is that just what people say?
Oh, it's a fair question. Everyone wants to know, does this actually work? And this lesson lays out some really compelling benefits that I think will resonate with you.
Amazing.
Well, for one thing, better decision making. You're cultivating greater mental clarity.
Okay, now you've got my attention. Tell me more about that, because I could definitely use a little more mental clarity in my life.
Yeah.
How does mindfulness actually help you make better decisions?
Okay, so picture this. You're at work, you're trying to solve a really complex problem, but your mind is just racing. A million thoughts, anxieties, that never-ending to-do list. It's like trying to hear someone whisper in a crowded room, right?
Yeah, I know that feeling.
So mindfulness, it helps you turn down the volume on all that mental noise, so you can actually access that calm, clear space within. That's where the good decisions happen.
It's like hitting the pause button on all the mental chatter so you can actually focus. Okay, that's pretty cool. What else does this lesson highlight?
Another big one is emotional balance. Instead of feeling like we're constantly being tossed and turned by every little emotion, mindfulness gives us the space to just observe those emotions without judgment. It's like learning to surf,
Yeah.
You're riding the waves instead of getting pulled under.
That's huge. I can already see how that would be life-changing,
Yeah.
especially in those high-stress moments. It's like Imagine approaching a difficult conversation at work with this sense of calm, instead of just feeling totally overwhelmed by anxiety.
Exactly. And that actually ties directly into another major benefit, stress reduction. I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. When we're present, when we're grounded in this moment, in the now, we're less likely to get caught up in, those anxieties about the future or even regrets about the past. It's like we're not adding to the stress by dwelling on those what ifs and should have beens.
Right, right. It's about staying present, focusing on what you can control. Okay, this all makes sense. But how do we actually DO this mindfulness thing? The lesson mentioned some specific techniques, right?
It did. And the really cool thing is that they're all really approachable, even for beginners.
Okay, let's get practical. What are these techniques?
So the lesson starts with something called mindful breathing.
Okay.
And it really is as simple as it sounds. Just taking a few moments to focus on your breath, like really feeling that breath coming in, feeling it going out.
See, that's the kind of simplicity I can get behind. That's something I could actually work into my day. Like, I'm waiting for the elevator or even stuck in traffic.
Exactly. Finding those little pockets of time to reconnect, even with a crazy schedule. And speaking of connecting, the source also talks about the body scan technique.
I always pictured the body scan as this big thing. Like, I need special pillows and incense and an hour of uninterrupted time.
It's funny you say that because it's actually a really common misconception. The body scan is incredibly simple. Basically, you're just bringing your attention to each part of your body one by one, starting with your toes, moving all the way up, just noticing any sensations, any tension without trying to change anything.
Yeah.
And just like mindful breathing, you can do it anytime, anywhere.
I have to say, you're selling me on these techniques. But there's still this part of me that gets a little intimidated by, formal meditation. Because that's where I hit a wall. Like, I don't have enough time.
I totally get it. That's a common one. But this lesson, they suggest starting with just 10 or 15 minutes a day.
Really? Okay, because that feels doable.
Right. And that thing's not about quantity. It's about quality. Even a few minutes of really focused attention, being present, is going to be more impactful than forcing yourself to sit for an hour when your mind is somewhere else.
This has been awesome. We've uncovered these incredible tools, mindfulness and meditation, and they're not some far-off concept. They're accessible even with our busy lives, right? Who knows, maybe this is the first step on our journey to enlightenment. But even if we don't reach nirvana, these practices can bring some peace and clarity to our crazy days.
I love that. It's about taking that first step, making that decision to slow down, be present.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up today's deep dive, here's something to think about. What's one area of your life you could approach with a bit more mindfulness, a little more clarity?
That's a good question.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into mindfulness and meditation. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those breaths deep.